It's time for us to speak about a few things. I don't know those who are going to be joining me live or not, but I just decided I was going to talk about certain subjects that are important based off the fact that it is one of the most important things that has been going on right now, which is about AI. But my intention on anything that concerns me is to talk about how the blacks can unite together and find a great way to to have their relationship prosper. And I don't want to sound more or less like Dr. Umar Johnson, because my brother in that angle has been doing some things that I really do not understand. There are a few things I've been hearing about, and maybe why people join me live, I'll be able to get more understanding about Dr. Omar Johnson. And the question, one of the biggest topic that is going on, that is trending at the moment, is how AI can affect relationship between Black Americans and people in the UK, or you can say in the Western culture. That's what we are going to be looking at today. Please, if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe to the channel. That's what we are going to be discussing. Let us ask ourselves a question. This morning, I spoke about a few subjects. And part of the things I touched on was the idea that with the idea of AI, we should be able to relate more. And then I proposed some things in the morning, and part of the things I proposed was that maybe black people, black women should fall back in an aspect of dating more of African men who understand cultures and traditions. Maybe it might spike a little bit of jealousy, or it might spike a little bit of black men understanding the value of the black women, and then they begin to see themselves in a light whereby they start thinking to work things out. And I know when I said it, it's definitely going to spark a lot of things in people's mind. And the idea behind why I said so, I have thought about the idea of how can black people come together and relate again, because the disparity is just excessive. There is no way you can talk about the black women and the black men. It seems as if it is more or less like impossible. Black women and black men, whenever we discuss about it, it's more or less like something that is more or less impossible. So I came up with an option today, and I said it is an option that women need to look at, the black women need to look at. Because every single time you decide to bring in a black woman to talk about their experience in relationship, black men would put on their glove and they are willing to fight. I was talking about the issue of New Canon or New Canton or Cathy Newton, one of them, with Dr. Brian. I was having a conversation about it. And to me, honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm less busy. Maybe it's because I'm jobless. But maybe I wouldn't say I'm jobless, because I'm very jobful. I have a lot of things going on in my life, but sometimes I just get worried and I just think about the unity of the Africans. In fact, I think about my country so much, but at the same time, I am kind of concerned about the world in general, because you can absolutely think about your country, and when reality hits, you realize that it's not all about your country. It's about the things that are more attached to your country, your history, your culture, your traditions. And if we have to preserve these things to make sure that we flourish as people, we have to be able to be concerned about everyone. And to me, I hate calling myself a Nigerian. I love calling myself an African, because African is the full group of every single one of us. And that actually involves the black Americans. And I ask myself a question: is there anything that the black men are actually doing to help the situation of the black woman? I made a little bit of research, did a lot of stuff, and to me it appears as if there's nothing that they are doing at all to make sure the relationship actually stick. I think all they are just saying is women have to be submissive, but I think that something has shifted and we need to recognize what has shifted. The relationship between men and women in the African culture is more or less like the same, but the relationship between black women and black men in the Western culture has changed. And what's changed actually? It's changed in an aspect that the women have the same power that the men have. And because the women have the same power that the men have, one thing I understand about power is this: power is useless when you can't abuse it. That's the truth. You don't have to accept it, but that's reality. Power is useless when you can't abuse it sometimes. And what I mean by this particular statement is that you could be oppressed in the past and you have nothing to do about it. And so you decide to endure with such things. When you become informed and knowledgeable about certain things, the importance of your knowledge and wisdom is to liberate you from the suffering. And so women have become so empowered in certain ways, in their knowledge, in their education system and the rest of it. But rather for the men to be able to shift and look at what way can they work with the black woman, it seems the black women became their enemy. It seems every other race, simply because the black men, we are always been appreciated in every culture, has to do with our our confidence, who we are as people, and it seems everything just changed. And so my proposal, with all the debate of what is going on, women saying, oh, we have to stay 30 years, 45 years to get married, I think is basically because maybe some people may argue that, oh, most of them are being promiscuous. That could be true. In every culture, there are always going to be promiscuous ladies. In African culture, there are promiscuous ladies. So just putting that on the black Americans simply because that's what the media portray about them doesn't make that the reality or true. So one of my proposal was black African women should come to Africa and they most likely would meet with men. Now, how it's going to work, all I know is what African men actually stand by. And what they stand by is the idea of the value of what they have for relationship, how they respect relationship, how they are being committed to relationship, regardless of the fact that they might have the option to move out. But I think when they commit, they put themselves in a way that they are vulnerable and they hold their head up high, that I have to be responsible in this relationship I want to build. Now, one of the person we can talk about is Tasha K. Tasha K is a lady who decided to get married to an African person. How is our relationship going with her? I think she's absolutely doing fine. Tasha K is a smart woman. Dating an African person actually proves like maybe black women will be more valued when they are with the black African, or when they are with their African men, since the black American men are avoiding most of them. And some of them have all kinds of excuses. People like Dr. Omar Johnson, people like Neil Cannon, people like what did they call this other guy who had a latest interview with Dr. Brian. So everything I was proposing was like, okay, black women, maybe you have to start looking at coming to Africa. And trust me, some people have this perception that to have nationality in Africa is kind of difficult. It is not. Africa is the easiest place for you to get to have your green card, to become a citizen is nothing. Maybe I'm not good at any other country, but I know about Nigeria and Ghana. So I know it is possible. So I'm looking at the angle because the African man, there are people who are more educated, and the African man that are educated, there are some of them that are soft, not because they are not strong, but they understand the importance and the value of an educated woman, and they understand also the liberation of the educated black woman. And so I was looking at it from the angle of Tasha K. Is there a possibility that if perhaps the black women decide to come to Africa, maybe the black men would begin to value them? Maybe things will work out. I don't know. But I was asking myself also, I was like, is there any arrangement? Is there any program that is actually going on with the blacks? And I was actually looking into the idea of the AI, artificial intelligence, and I think it's one of the subjects people are actually discussing about at the moment. And trust me, when I did a little bit of digging, I began to realize that in the idea of AI, there is a possibility, a strong possibility, that there's going to be more disparity between the black cultures. There's going to be a little bit of more separation. So that means if we are actually looking at the fact that this is a problem, there's something bigger coming. And so recently I've been watching about people talk about Pan-Africanism and the rest of it, and it drew my attention back to Dr. Umar Johnson. And I decided to make a little bit of research about Dr. Umar Johnson on the idea of Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. And I tried to make a research, and I realized that this man is trying to establish an institution for the black boys for over 13 years. And the school is not still existing till date. 13 good years. Please, do anyone understand the reasons? Because everything I knew is the idea of what the information I have. And part of the information I have was checking about Dr. Omar Johnson. I understand that he has been working to fund and build a school, that which is the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, for over 13 years. And they said his efforts to open this school for black boys have faced various challenges. Now, there could be a possibility that is much more investing on the idea of black boys, saying that he actually want to create black men, strong black men, men that knows their worth and their value. And the same thing makes me look into what's her name again? Dr. Life Coach Brian, Chenyen Brian. Because you can make a decision and you say you want black boys to be men and worth. Looking at the values of your life, you have to ask yourself a question. Does your life actually represent what you are about to teach those guys? What values are you going to be teaching most of the women there? Oh, sorry. What values are you going to be teaching most of the boys there regarding the relationship of the women in the black culture? All I know about life is that you can't give what you don't have. Because everything I know about Dr. Omar Johnson is just the debating here. It sounds smart. This is one of the problems I think I have with the black culture sometimes, is that some people can be good at words. Just because you're very good at articulating your words doesn't mean that you mean what you say. Doesn't mean that you are right in what you say. Doesn't mean you are thinking properly. It's just that you know how to deliver the words. And it resonates. that doesn't mean you're saying the truth. Please correct me. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I want to ask myself a question. Is there a possibility that Dr. Umar Johnson establishing the school, even after 13 years, the school is yet to come alive? Maybe in the next 13 years, maybe in the next 5 years, maybe there's a possibility. Or is it when Dr. Umar Johnson is probably late? Is that when there's a possibility for these things to manifest? But I'm more concerned about not even the manifesto of his work. It is about the idea that you are not also a good representation of what you say you want to build. Because see, the value of every man is in what he can provide and protect. And I know most men are going to tell me that, oh, why is it that a man has to be able to provide and protect? What I think is that a man must have a value. Do you also want to have a woman who cannot have children? Do you want to have a woman who is not useful? Everyone has to be useful for something. And it's one of the problems that I think the blacks, they kind of deny at the moment. As Africans, we understand that we have a value. Now, the problem is that most people's value are built based off only what they can provide and protect, or specifically what they can provide. If you build your value based off what you can provide, that is what you are going to be. You are going to be seen as a provider. Your value is going to be based on what you can actually provide. Nothing more, nothing less. If anyone knows, yesterday I made a video. My son is 5 years old and he's going to be 6 March next year. And I said, since I gave birth to my son, I never bought him anything. I bought him only one wristwatch. And yesterday was when I bought him another wristwatch. I built a relationship with my son that has more value than buying him a gift. And I made my wife also understand the idea that we are not going to be valuable to our children based off what we give to them, but who we are to them and who they can be to other people. Those are what our values will be based on. There was a time I wanted to get a car. My wife, we were thinking of getting a car. That was last year. Okay, last 2 years. We wanted to get a car, and I told her, I said, okay, can we go get a car? We saw the car. We are like, oh, let's go get the car and the rest of it. And I just switched up my mind. I said, no, I'm not getting the car. I'd rather invest that money on property, on the future. So she knows definitely with the way we've built relationship, my wife handles the present, I handle the future. Do I work in the present? Yes, I take care of some things in the present, but I most likely pay attention to the future. I gave her a responsibility and a duty, making her understand that we are in this particular vision or in this journey together. You have a role to play and you are going to be more appreciated in this value. I have provided this. Maybe we build this, or maybe we have this, maybe we have this. You have to know how to manage this so that I can know how to flourish to get the next thing. For our children, we can give them the best education. We can show them love. We can teach them morality, culture, and traditions. We can show them how to have respect, how to be more spiritual than religious. We do this. My son is 5 years old and he already knows about meditation. He knows about breath work. So when I tell my wife I am broke, my wife does not look at me like strange, like what's going on? Something is wrong here, because she knows my value is beyond what I can provide at the moment. And it is basically because what you show to your woman that this is what you are, this is what your value is based on, that is exactly what she's going to take you for at the long run. I hope I'm making sense. So, what's the way out? I think it is not, I will blame the women too, but I will say it is. It is not specifically that the women, as the black women, has looked at the black man to just be a provider and a protector, but the black man has actually showed himself that the highest he can do is to provide material values and protect. That is his uses. And when the woman knows that the only value you bring is to provide and protect, and she can now provide for herself and can protect herself, what does she need you for? Who devalued you? You devalued yourself because you think that as a man, you are not supposed to be able to evolve into something else. Most men are not evolving. Most men are stuck in a particular way, thinking that the way our ancestors were hunting in the forest, gathering bush and this, that is what they have to be today, which is capitalistic mindset. Now, when women are dominating the idea of the capitalistic world, what would you be used for? What would the righteous do? The righteous has to evolve. Ah, tell me if I'm lying. Who is the black man there to tell me if I'm lying? Tell me I'm not making sense. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm not saying the truth and give me different excuses to it. Let's go. That's the reality. Because if Dr. Umar Johnson perhaps is thinking of the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy for over 13 years and is not being able to establish the institution, they still need funds, they still need to approve, they still need to do this. The question is this: when this particular thing is being established, is there a chance for the girls? Because you're still going to leave the girls and you guys are still going to be you're still going to have this disparity among you guys. You want to build the man, you don't want to build the woman. Or you think the women are doing well, you don't have to focus on them right now, you just have to focus on the boys. Trust me, as an African man, I do not trust what Dr. Omar Johnson is doing. I'm sorry to say it. I don't. And regardless of the support he has had for 13 years, I don't know how much is being given to him. I don't know how much he has been able to gain from that, but I understand that he's also been paid from going for interviews and the rest of it. And I'm like, wow, 13 years? If I promise my wife I'm going to achieve something or accomplish something and I can't do it in the next 2 years, I know how bitter I will be. 2 years, 13 years. So I said, I was looking that with the AI thing coming up, there's going to be a disparity. See, let me not pretend as if the Africans, we actually got everything right. We did not get everything right. In fact, we also have our issues. The only difference about our issues and the Western culture is that most men still have wives. Most men, the only thing is, maybe it's going to trickle down after a period of time, I don't know, but I just think that we still have it intact right now. In fact, only the challenge that I think we have, and it is the challenge that have been existing for thousands of years, is the idea of widows. Widows not having a husband and having children for the late husband and the rest of it. That's one of the primary issues we still have till date. So I'm not saying that we are perfect, but I just know that there are certain issues that are just there. But we are focusing on the young ones. And if the young ones, which are the young women, which are the 30s, the 40s, that's the number I will stop. 20, 30, 40s. If they are not able to unite at this particular time, what we are actually doing as black men is we are failing our responsibilities to help our community flourish, to help our community to be able to, you know, to be able to prosper to the next generation. And I always ask myself, what is the perseverance that men actually have? Because when you look at the African culture, maybe this is what black men always get wrong. One of the things black men might get wrong Yes, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. That's part of the issue. Widows caused by religion. Religion has kept African in bondage. Absolutely. Because one of the things I'm saying is that in the African culture, I think I've said this, I've emphasized on it countless of time, that most of my friends that are in diaspora, most of them, regardless of the fact that they mostly date a white woman or something like that in the UK or so, most of them still have an established family here in Nigeria. They have their wife, they have their children. In fact, any children they have there, they are like, I did that so that I can have a means to be able to provide for my children. And more or less, see, I can't judge everything, but I can understand few things, and the things I don't understand, that is what I'm willing to learn. They will tell you, oh, I am here so that I can have my green card. When I have the children, I will make some money, pay for those children, but the kind of income I make, I can bring it back home. And most of them, all of them, all my black friends that are in diaspora, all my African brothers that are in diaspora, all of them have properties here. Most of them have families here. Most of them have children. That means in one way or the other, they are still investing in the African culture. And when it comes to the blacks over there, it sounds to be kind of impossible. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. I'm like, okay, what is the way forward? Because I haven't seen, apart from Dr. Matt Johnson, who is trying to give out something, there are not things that are being set for a black woman to be able to flourish. And in a sense, after a period of time, viewing it from a good lens, you would see that generations will begin to reduce. In fact, I would argue that the alphabetical order people are being set into the black culture to make sure that they stop reprocreating. That's my perception. I could be wrong. And that's why I'm open to dialogue. And I've said it over and over again. I believe one of the things, at least Mr. Abiodun Adebusola, one of the things you can agree is this: when you go to social media at this junction in Nigeria, if you go to social media at this junction, majority of the social media influencers are attacking the issues of fake religion, fake pastors. We are actually talking about the subject of the fact that we know the danger of religion in Africa. We are trying to awaken the consciousness of those people who are the church goers. Because for me, nobody can drag me to church. If you pray in the name of Jesus, I agree with you. If you pray in the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I agree with you. If you talk about culture and tradition, òrìṣà ìgbà kọ̀ọ̀kan tèmi wá gbọ́ o, I do not give a damn. Because when you don't understand spirituality, then you take religion so serious. So we are still talking about the subject. We are attacking the subject. And you can see that some of the churches are fighting back. Absolutely. We don't give a damn. One of them, Pastor Fofenyi Jeremiah, was he not the one who sued a very dark man for 1 billion naira? That's a start. But in the black culture and black Western world, let us ask ourselves a question. What are they doing about the situation? The only thing they keep doing is making mockery of themselves. Most of the blacks, the black woman will go to the black man podcast or social media, and they just argue and debate for no reason. And rather than people to focus on the content of what they are actually saying, they are focusing on who is winning the debate. Let us assume that the devil exists, and the devil is looking at the black Americans, hoping that they are all going to perish. The devil will be laughing right now with the way they handle their issues over there. And maybe I would say, due to my perception based off history and culture and traditions, I am so much aware that just because something does not come from me specifically or directly, doesn't mean that thing is not connected to me one way or the other. Based off our history, and when you look at our history as a whole, you see all this Togo, Congo, Ghana, Nigeria, and all these kind of things. We are just supposed to be one African. We have tribes. I understand how these things flow, but we also need to be aware that most of our brothers and sisters are still the one over there. Now, what drew my attention specifically was basically when I begin to realize what is going on. At least we can pay attention to see what happened in the UK not quite long, when people were fighting the blacks, and they say the blacks are coming there to take their jobs. One thing. And I can see this particular thing. If the UK people, the original citizens of the UK, living based off class, first class citizen, second class citizen, if you make a decision to go to the UK, for example, you are surely aware of the fact that you can never be a first class if you are going from Africa. Maybe they treat you as one until reality sets in. But right now, what I can see in the Western world is that the Africans are kind of dominating the blacks over there in the workforce. Based off research, based off communication, it is apparent that Africans are dominating the workforce of the black Americans. And if Africans are rejoicing for dominating the black Americans, we are forgetting the part of history that we and the black Americans, we all came from the same ancestors. And why would they so much build the Western culture to what it is? Because when you look at most of the things that has been innovated or that has been established, most of them have been established. Most of the things that have been innovated are by the blacks, or blacks are part of the people who contribute to certain innovations. Why would they give Africans more privilege, more freedom than the blacks over there? If we are not aware of this, we should know that there's a game that is being played here. And some of us are removing our eyes from that reality. And we think we are having privileges. It is not privilege, it is a setup. If they can fully wipe out our brothers and sisters, the blacks over there, by destroying their culture, destroying them as a people, taking them out and bringing us in, do we think we are going to own any ground there? Debbie Murdoch says 100% setup. You don't treat my parents fine, and I come to your place and you begin to give me water, give me gold, give me everything that I desire. What are you trying to do? And when we look at history, the only way this thing happened in the past for them to be able to break into the African culture was divide and conquer. So now, if you welcome the Africans that are coming in and you turn against the black, and we think that we are more privileged and we should be more worshipped. Queen Pri, you said you are very misinformed. You do not know what you are talking about. Please educate me. First of all, before you proceed, let me know if you are an African, pure African, or you are in the black culture. I would appreciate it. I agree. You can back it up with facts. Queen Pri, please back it up with some facts. You said I am speaking on false info. I agree with you. I am only asking. Maybe because you think I'm wearing this cap. You think I don't know how to read and write. You think I'm an illiterate. So prove to me that what I'm saying doesn't make sense. I'm waiting. Even though I'm brainstorming while I'm here, please inform me. Identify where you're from, and then we can understand the perception or the perspective that you're having towards the conversation. Because this discussion cannot flourish without us knowing exactly where you're coming from, and then we can understand where you are actually going to. You are from Maryland, USA. Are you a black or you are white? Trust me, I'm trying to learn. You're a black American. Okay. So now tell me what your perceptions are regarding the subject. I hope you know how I started today's conversation. I hope you came in earlier and you understand exactly what I was saying. If possible, I would have even loved to ask you if you know exactly what I was saying. You said you're a black American, so that means you are my sister in the Lord. And you don't necessarily have to agree, but that's how I see you. Do you have a clue what we are discussing about? Because when people use the word and they say, oh, you are misinformed and the rest of it, is one of the greatest language they say. And I think every single person is misinformed in one way or the other. Everyone is misinformed in one way or the other. Because the social media, you said, you know what I said. Can you paraphrase what I said? Can you paraphrase what I said? Because, or should I repeat it for you so you get the picture? If you know what I say, paraphrase it, or would you want me to talk to you about what I said? Maybe in a small context. Ah, we are waiting. That's why I say you should paraphrase what I said. Or do you want me to repeat for you? Because trust me, if anyone is live right now watching exactly what's going on, people are going to ask, like, does this person really have a clue what this guy is talking about? Because I have conversations that backs most of these things up. She's not saying anything. Or are you writing something? Let me put it for you again, just for you to get the picture. We started today's conversation with the idea that there is much separation between the black family, the black people. And this conversation started with the idea of Cam Newton and Dr. Brian Chenyen Brian, who tends to be a female therapist, going to Neil Carton's, or is it Can Newton's interview, and they spoke about relationship and therapy and all the rest of it, long lasting relationship, marriage. And part of the conversation, I realized that both of them are not qualified to speak on the subject. Why? The guy who tends to talk about the lady is 41 years of age. She's not married. She has no child. The guy that was on the other end, that was defending, he has 3 baby mamas with 8 children. 24H News says, bro, always put the subtitles on your page. How do I do that? Teach me. Because I only know how to do that after if I'm uploading a video. Or maybe I might be able to do that if I'm shooting it through my laptop, because I'm doing this through my phone. And that's where the problem might be coming from. So if there's any way you can help me, if it's something I can do through with my phone, yes, I would accept it. If it's something I can do through my laptop is right here, but I'm not putting it on because the camera of my laptop is not that sharp. So what I was saying is this: there is a disparity between black men and black women. For Queen Pre, there's a disparity between black men and black women, and I said every of the things that are going on regarding the hip-hop culture, regarding the traditions, I looked carefully about the cultures of the Jews and the cultures of the Africans, the black Africans, and I realized that both of them have been traumatized in certain ways, but the way they decide to handle the situations are absolutely different. The Jews are prospering regarding of the fact that they are small, but the blacks are separating. And I say that there is something going on. The black men are being accepted by almost every other country women. The white women wants to date the black men. African ladies wants to date the black men. So the black men, doors are open for the black men in the aspect of relationship. For the black women, most of them are having issues. And I'm saying, what is the way forward for the black men and the black women to be able to unite? And I say, if there is a possibility for them to retrace back to their African roots, the women can easily have good relationship with the African man, rather than the idea of knowing that these alphabetical other people that they are setting into the and indoctrinating the education mindset of the blacks is going to reduce the population of the blacks. And then I said that we have seen evidence right now that they are hiring more of Africans. Most of Africans that are going into the Western culture are actually receiving more payment than a black American person. Wow. Well, I agree with you because that's your opinion. The reason why I speak about it is basically because I have most black American women who speak to me. I have many black American women who speak to me. And they talk to me about the issues of the black American women and how they are not being protected by their men, and how the men are not being committed to their relationship. And I spoke on the fact that one of the issues that we are having, or one of the things we have in Africa that works for us, is basically because rather than two people to get involved in marriage, families come together to make marriage work. This is not just the individuals. A man and a woman don't just wake up in Africa and decide to get married. Families are involved. And I'm saying the black men are walking away. This is what black American women are telling me. and they say they are decent women. Looking at social media is portraying the black American women in a negative light. We are asking a question: do people have more interest of staying alone, staying single, and just being alone? It says Africans lifestyle has bottom too. Do too. Do with black Americans. We are not the same. When I speak, I don't speak for everybody. I speak because I wrestle with my thoughts. Thank you, Debbie Murdoch. I believe Queen Pre actually misunderstand everything I'm saying. You must, yeah. Thank you very much. You misunderstand everything I'm saying. Everything I've been saying, and maybe if Queen Pre actually have more understanding about the black culture, you see, there are a lot of people that I understand in Africans. This is what they do. What I've seen so far is that a lot of people study history, and when we hear people speak about history, they use history to manipulate people. Good for you. If being single in America is an advantage, that's good for you. You shouldn't bother yourself with our conversation. Don't think because some people are happy being single. Some people are not happy being single. In fact, most people communicate with me and they tell me that speak about this conversation of bringing the blacks and the Africans together. That is what they are interested in. If you're single, you're an alphabetical person, you're doing fine. If you have a perception on sexuality, I'm not trying to change your eyes or change you. No. If you're single, adios amigos. But we have issues that are going on and other people want something different. So my sister in the Lord, thank God you're happy being single. For those who are not happy being single, those are the people I'm actually talking to. I am in North America and I understand and appreciate what you're saying. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Mer. So what I'm saying is this. Most people are not being appreciated. And see, one of the things that some people do not understand is this. When people are single sometimes and they are very young and they are single, some people are like, oh, life is sweet and the rest of it. Wait until life hits you in the face. You're not an introvert. Just because you're single doesn't make you an introvert. And life can go far for you and you meet with a lot of people over and over and over and over again until a time comes where everybody's choices of life begins to change and their perception about life begins to change, and then you want to make more friends and you're going to be so surprised that you're not going to see most of those people that were friends with you in the age of 20s anymore, because most of them, they would have chosen something that they so much prioritize, which is relationship. I know you're single and you don't value relationship, and since you don't value relationship, this particular conversation is not for you. So you want to be single and you want more freedom, wait till you are 50. We that we are in Africans and our mothers are widows, and we know we that we are children to our mothers who single-handedly take care of us, we know exactly the stress she goes through. We know exactly what they go through. You know, they say something, and one of the things that I've been able to realize is that some people in the black culture have become, in the name of we don't want black men, we don't want relationship. In that, most of them have become so bitter, and to see bitter people is not difficult. Go difficult. You know, I can tell you one thing, Queen Pray. I can tell you one thing for a fact. I bet you can have $1 million in your account. In the next 5 years, if God give us grace to all exist or to still be alive, or I can show you a video right now at my age, show you a video of my family, show you video of my extended family and my relationship, and I bet you're going to take some pills before you can sleep tonight if you are truly single. And it doesn't necessarily have to be those in mansions. If you don't understand, you think you came live alone? This is what we call indoctrination. Complete indoctrination. And if you think you have other people who are going to go down your path, sorry, you go alone because you choose the path alone. I am one of the most strongest introverted human being I know on the surface of this earth. I can be in my house without talking to people for years, and you wouldn't even notice me. But trust me, I don't care how old you are. I have more knowledge and more awareness and more consciousness to understand that I am not meant to live life alone. You ain't a Christian, number one. You don't understand your culture, number two. You don't understand tradition, number three. Because if you do understand either culture, traditions, or religion, if you read any of those things, you would realize that there is no one that is meant for just themselves, just because of selfish reason. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know why? There are few things that are different between the black Americans and the Africans. You know, one thing is very different for sure. It is hip hop culture. We don't sing songs to tell people that we tell our sons to take up gun and shoot other people and kill other people. We don't rejoice in that. So if there is going to be a difference, that is a big difference. The only thing is that some people, I don't know, you should be whopping. I don't clean, I don't cook, I'm single. Beyonce is married, Cardi B is married. How many times is Cardi B breaking up and she does not want to break up? Nicki Minaj, that you are emulating, is married. Every single of your superstars, they are more intelligent, and these particular people will tell you that they are street smart. That means they did not actually go to college. You most likely would have gone to college, yet they are more smarter. You have a right to bear arms. Debbie Burdock says that recently a mature woman died at work for 4 days and no one notices. Why? She was alone, no husband, and no family. These are the things that I think are more important. To us, family are the most important thing. And I have had a lot of people who are willing to come to Africa. Some people have challenges with Africans saying that as a black American woman, when they came to Africa, their experience wasn't that pleasant. Some are actually married, some are enjoying being in relationship with an African man. But when these people came and they say, okay, we want to come to Africa, but we are not feeling being accepted in Africa, I was telling them, these are how the African cultures are being set in place. And if you can move this way, you will find it's going to be successful. If I have an intention to go to the Western culture, I think what I would need is someone to give me the guideline. I'm not actually speaking to everybody. Yes, I understand you have the right to bear arms, Queen Prey. Do you remember the recent woman who poured water on a police officer and the police shot that woman? I believe if you go through her property, she most likely might have arms too. You have the right to have arms. Are you treated fairly in your country? Do you have rights? Leave the harms alone. Do you actually have rights as a black person? You know, when you started and you said you wanted to, how did she say this? She said, I was misinformed. I was thinking this person would have been through PhD and BSc, and you have a big information that you want to clarify, and I was willing to learn. All you did was you just showed me garbage. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You do what? PhD? PhD? You see, let me tell you something. People like you, Queen Pre, are people who gives people like Kevin Samuel the mindset to degrade black women. Debbie Murdoch is asking you what rights? The rights to bear arms. That's the right she's talking about. Àmọ́ kò lè sí kí ẹ̀dá wà láyé kí tiẹ̀ má ba. Kò possible kó jẹ́ pé a máa rí àwọn èèyàn nínú aráàlú tá à ní rí èèyàn tí orí bóyá ó ti sínwín rí àbí kò wá òkè. Oh, Vivek Vishwa, thanks for joining. I'm doing great. I'm wasting my time on Queen Pre. I was told. I was told. Debbie Murdoch, I was told. A lady told me, a black American woman, and this woman is actually, she have actually served in the military in the past. She told me several things about what is going on in the black community, and all my desire, perhaps I don't have desire to go there, but all my possible desires quenched. What did she say? She said that most times they can just stop you on the way, the police can just stop you on the way in the name of search, and they tell a grown-up man to sit on the floor. The only thing you, Queen Pre, the only thing you think you have the right, or the only thing that makes sense to you, and everything you have said initially when you wrote, I was thinking you were smart. The only thing you wrote is the idea of you having the right to guns. That's the best you want in life. Guns. I will tell you one thing. Let me teach you a song. Go on Spotify or Audio Max, type Fela Kuti, and it's going to speak to you. Fela Kuti. Play a song called Kolo Mentality. Play a song called Kolo Mentality. Everything you said is a mindset of colonial mentality. You speak like those who have oppressed you in the past. You think being an American and having gone make you superior? And Ron says at Queen Pre, it needs to be someone on the outside to investigate the issue. Just because you have settled with being single, there needs to be concern about the black youth in America, our future. You know, you know, you know, I have you have more rights in USA than you have that I have in Nigeria. If that makes you sleep well at night, snore it. I have a lot of people there. The people who kind of, this is it. I have family members who I know from friends who will tell you that the only thing that are good there, or the people that it favors, are elderly people who are having health issues or health challenges going to the Western culture or the black Americans. These are the people that are still being treated with regard and respect. But for the youth, she's upset. Here's what I was saying. Please, let's take our attention of Queen Prey. Queen Prey needs attention, and she needs attention because she's single. When someone is single for a very long time, they desire attention. Everything she's writing and everything she's saying is basically so she can get attention. Yeah, yeah. It's just a painful thing that YouTube is what do they call YouTube? YouTube is not something you can I can actually pick up this same phone I'm using to show you stuff. I have a lot of offers to be in the UK. I have a lot of offers to come to the US. I refuse. I refuse. You need to be able to identify your struggle. You don't identify your struggle. So I think possibly you don't even care about the lives of anyone. And that's the evidence why you're single. When you don't care about the life of anyone, you're okay being single, and you're okay seeing your brothers and sisters being single. You need attention. Go out and you're going to find a guy who loves you. If you need attention, go to the streets. You're going to find attention there. Don't come to my channel to start seeking for attention. I wouldn't recognize you. I've given you excessive attention. Excessive. You came in and I was thinking you were so educated and you just disappointed me. You know, I was willing when you started your conversation and you say it's not true, it's misinformation. I was like, okay, come, maybe I need to set up my internal and spiritual spirit to have a real discussion. And all the things you can say is about being single and having guns. Kudos to you. Uh, there's one thing about me, and the thing about me, I don't just know it. Even though I know it takes me nothing to just block you, I hate it. I prefer when people unsubscribe than me blocking them. But you really need help. You really do need help. And I'm really sorry. In a sense, honestly, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry in a sense that you have this kind of mindset, because this is exactly the mindset that Kolo mentality would have wanted you to have. God and money loves you. Please, this is what you should do. Screenshot everything you have said. Screenshot whatever you've said today, and whenever you wake up in the morning, read it. And I bet you on the fifth day you are going to cry for yourself. Keep reading it. Time will tell. Enjoy yourself. So what I've been addressing earlier, and please, the only reason why I allow you to keep writing all this stuff is basically because I was thinking we can have a sensible conversation, but I was disappointed because I actually left almost 30 to 40 minutes just to be able to pay attention to what you have to say, and for the past 40 minutes you never even make any sense. A non-educated person who is in the forest would have said something better than what you've said. You couldn't even ask any question. You couldn't even ask what was my perspective. You couldn't even come up with anything sensible. Wow. Amazing. Um, I was discussing about the idea of Frederick Douglass Academy and Marcus Garvey Academy, and I was saying that for 13 years, this individual has not been able to establish a sensible institution. And the institution he was prioritizing was an institution for the male man. And I was saying that it would be good for most African or blacks over there. I like to consider you guys, I like calling you Africans, but for the sake of conversation, I like using blacks just so that we can understand what we are saying. I was considering the fact for us to even continue on the conversation of how can we make sure that the generations coming would start would have more interest in coming more to Africa, because one of the things that I have said earlier was, I think one of the person who spoke to me at some point was the enlightened one when we spoke about spirituality, and he said some things about spirituality, and part of the things he touched on was on the idea that Africans are even making some money, than more money than the blacks over there. And I was considering the fact that we have to do something that most blacks over there can come to Africa to learn to have good relationship with the people in Africa. And in this particular part, we can shape our ways to come together and to unite. There is a possibility. There is a possibility that if this continues to happen, maybe some of the black men who are not appreciating the black women will start looking at it. Now, let's put it this way. There's one thing I understand about the principle of most men. When most men separate themselves from a woman, One of the mentality they have, and I've been in these particular shoes for a very long time, or FBAs. Please, let me understand what's the meaning of FBAs, Lisa. So I was proposing to the idea that rather than most people to continuously have the issue with the black men, in part of the principles that I understand that men live by, it seems in every interview, in every research that I've seen in the past, it seems as if foundational black Americans. Okay, foundational black Americans. That's true. Foundational black Americans. Okay. Thank you for that. I think that when it comes to the idea of the black people, or let's just say men in general, when a man is having relationship with a woman and is stepping away for one reason or the other, I'm trying to tell women some of the truth here. Most times, if the man does not see that he's actually going to lose you, the more a man does not see the chance that he's going to lose you, he wouldn't appreciate you. If he sees that there's no way out for you to be able to flourish in life, he most likely wouldn't come back to you. I believe for those who have been in relationship, most of you will be able to understand exactly what I'm saying. You would understand what I'm saying. A man would never say I'm sorry when he understands that you have no way out. Are we this way? You have to be more conscious not to be that way. So I was proposing that if there are more relation, you see, the idea of what I'm even saying is this. Most black men actually see, they can see for themselves that most people are not gravitating towards the black American women. They can see it clearly. And I think that's the reason why every single debate, every single conversation, they are not willing to settle with the woman. All they are trying to do is to reverse what has been changed or what has evolved with time. And what I was saying that has evolved with time is that the black American women, one of the things that has actually changed, that has changed the relationship dynamics, is basically for the fact that you earn more money, you have more power, you can protect yourself. That's the reality. And if the man understands that this is what makes him a man, is trying to find a different value that will make him to be respected by the woman. But one of the things that are being established mostly in the black culture or in the Western culture is capitalism. And so the only way people can view value is through what money can you bring. Now, what is the importance of my money if I know you don't need my money? I would rather take that money that I have and take it somewhere else that it will be appreciated. And that is exactly what is happening with the black men, or we could call it the black American men. And I was saying, one of the things that they are not being taught is that you can be more valuable regardless of the particular statement that is coming off of high value man, which is all based off capitalism and what you can actually provide. And if you were here earlier when I started the conversation, I used a lot of analogies, even from my own perspective and how I relate with people. Whenever we talk about the value of a man, most people look at it from the idea of what it can provide and what it can and how it can protect. But an average black American woman can provide and protect herself. Someone like Queen Pre, who has a gun, the right to a gun. So she don't need a man, and that's why she's single. So she cherishes it. So I'm saying that a man does not have a value if all a man can do is to provide money. If all a man can do is to act like he is the protector. So the best thing is to be able to encourage men of different values. Part of the values are spiritual values. Part of the values are the idea of you being present in the life of your family. You see, most people underestimate the power of being aware or being present in the life of your children, in the life of your wife, other things that you can actually do. Most men do not even understand that there could be values in how you contribute to your community as people. Taking care of the people in your community. All these values are not part of what men are. Most blacks, in my perception, what they're actually looking at. All they're looking at is just that financial values. And so I'm saying the best thing you can do is to seek for different African men. Have good conversations with real African men. And when they understand and when they can see the light that there are other people who appreciate you for who you are and are not threatened by what you are or who you are as black American women, there is a chance that they would value and cherish you. But what I'm saying is that there should be that space for you to be able to move in and flow with the African brothers. No be me I see me in a day too. And I've made it clear. I'm doing good. I'm not saying my brothers you should date my brothers Yoruba. No. But there are good brothers in Africa that we can actually work together to know these individuals. But this question has to come in place. Are you asking yourself this question? How do we understand our ancestral past? How do we understand the culture and traditions of our people? And I'm not telling you that the Africans are perfect. What I'm saying is that there is a lot of chances that a lot of single black American women can have people who truly values them. But that should be put into consideration first. Because trust me, the race of trying to speak to the black man, I think it is more or less like impossible. Why? The moment a black man has some money with them, every other culture open doors for them. I would say this. A black American man can come to Nigeria today and is going to have 20 women. 20. If he goes to the whites, Dr. Umar Johnson will call them snow bunnies. He would have a lot of doors open for him. And if they have all these options, they most likely wouldn't cherish what they have because they know fully well that what they have is not being appreciated mostly by other people. There is a disparity. Can we correct that disparity? Can we bring a union back home? I was using an analogy earlier when I started the conversation, and I was using Tasha K as an example. Tasha K, for those of you who knows who Tasha K is married to an African brother. And that African brother, you can see their relationship. Some people will say, oh, it's not that masculine. What do you mean for a man to be masculine? For him to be like a bulldog, fighting everywhere? Or for him to be dominant? For him to be superior so you feel like you are inferior? That has become the perception of how people see masculinity. And I'm not telling you that it doesn't exist. Same pattern. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying if perhaps people need to get African men, they are serious African brothers. I know you can move from different countries to different countries. I can communicate and I can see other people. This has nothing to do with just me. That we can work together and make sure these things actually come to pass. With that being said, I was saying also, maybe before I summarize let me summarize what I want to say, because I was saying something that the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, which I heard that they've been investing in it for over 13 years and the school is yet to materialize, and it's basically built for the male child. I'm saying that what is the chance of the male child if the male child is going to be like Dr. Omar Johnson? If Dr. Omar Johnson is the one who is going to be a role model for the male children, and the same Dr. Omar Johnson is having multiple baby mamas, what is the future of the black boys of America? That's the question I have for today. And so, with that being said, I want to give out a few minutes if there's any question. We are subsequently going to keep working on this. And all this came up because of that debate between did I call it debate, the Funky Friday show and the rest of it. Because I think when the black woman is trying to correct and speak to the black man, it seems there's already a separation. Sometimes they say we get to a particular I don't know, maybe I don't know if I would say the bridge has been crossed or something happened to the bridge. I don't know. But I think there's a possibility for things to work. Maybe if we intertwine in one way or the other. And I'm not trying to intertwine. Any question? I have spoken. Queen Pri, that girl try you. She stressed my life, drew my attention, and at the end of the day, she says nothing. God bless you, Queen Pri, and God have mercy. Any question? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hoping this week or next week, I have been having some conversation. I'll be having some guests soon, but we have to be done with the whole stuff, and then I will be giving the announcement, and they will be joining us live. With that being said, let us put this into mind. Please, if there's any other things, you can communicate with me privately. You can discuss with me. If you want it to be public, I have no cockroach in the cupboard that I'm hiding. Okay? You can talk to me publicly. If there's anything advice you want to give to me, I accept every advice. When Queen Spray started initially, I was thinking she wanted to advise me and open my mind to something, but she opened my mind to guns. And I was disappointed. So please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, like and share. I appreciate those of you who have joined, including Queen Spray. I pray for you. God is going to change your mind. Focus on either religion, tradition, or culture, or even perhaps try and read the history of the black Americans. It might help you. The path you have chosen, singularity, is not a path that you would admire for a very long time. You might just start it and it might be very interesting to you, but I don't think at the long run it's going to pay you. Please think about it. Whatever we have said in the past, I still love you all. You are my brothers and sisters, either you like it or not. That's what you are according to history and according to our ancestral past. Please stay safe, take care of yourself, and we most likely might see this night by 9 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. or tomorrow morning. Whatever way, if I'm live, you're going to know. Put on your notification. Adios, amigos. Bye bye for now.